Welcome back, everyone. I am JTXRP, and on my channel, I go over different projects on the XRP ledger as well as about XRP and other things. So make sure to like, subscribe, and stick around for future projects. Today, we're going to be going over Ocean Assist. And Ocean Assist is a great project on the XRP ledger. It's using cryptocurrency a bit differently than what you might think and what you might be used to. So stick around to hear more from Becky, who is a developer on the XRP ledger, who switched over from other blockchains and is now developing on the XRPL. Thanks so much for her for sticking around and helping explain this project. But before we get started, make sure to, of course, like and subscribe. Check out the links in the description below for anything related to the Ocean Assist that we have here, as well as the links to support the channel. There are a few exchanges you can sign up on, and if you decide to trade on them, you and I can both actually reap rewards from that. So check the links in the description below if you're about to open up a new account. Without further ado, let's get started with Becky again and hear about Ocean Assist. How you doing tonight, Becky? Thanks for joining us again.
Thank you. Good to be back.
Thanks. So we brought you in for the Becky token, and you are a developer who has helped several different projects get started on the XRP ledger. And one that you have helped created or been a part of, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, is Ocean Assist. So tell me a little bit about your role in Ocean Assist.
So Ocean Assist was incepted, created by my partner and I. So he's the one, Keith is the one who kind of created the model, in essence, the purpose-driven microeconomic model that we're building out with Ocean Assist. And then I'm kind of more on the back end with the development of the actual tech stack that can make that happen. So, and
Gotcha.
together we work together constantly as to how to achieve it, and what direction to lead it in. But in essence, so Ocean Assist is a purpose-driven economic model to achieve oceanic conservation, or to assist with oceanic conservation. It's a globalized effort for potentially localized issues. And the way we are organizing it, there's essentially 5 components centered around that main purpose of oceanic sustainability.
I think I saw that on Twitter. Let me share my screen real quick. And is that what you're talking about?
Yeah, so that's an infographic we made to further explain or better explain to people what we're actually doing here, because it's actually never been done on the XRP ledger, and as far as we know, it's never been done, period, in terms of people bringing together all 5 of these components into one cohesive like kind of cycle or model, because I don't want to call it just like a project, because kind of each one of these things could be its own leg of, or its own project in itself, right? A lot of projects are just one of these things. We're trying to build all 5 of these components together. So
Gotcha.
do
you want to go into like how these components fit into assisting the ocean, or how they help the conservation effort?
So initially, I guess I'll explain the token curated registry first, because then we can get back to the token. So the token curated registry is, I guess in blockchain terms, a relatively old concept. It was conceived in like 2018, 2019, and we really haven't seen it applied in really most things, especially in regards to humanitarian efforts.
So what is that? I'm not even familiar, and I've been in crypto a while.
So a token curated registry is kind of like a decentralized, like user-based Yelp, if you will. What it is in order to add more information to the registry, you have to post up a deposit. So say, for example, I want to say that the best way to clean up the plastics out of the ocean is beach cleanups or whatever it is, whatever I want to propose as information to add to that registry, I need to kind of put my token where my mouth is and put a deposit down. Then the community votes upon whether to accept that information into the registry or not.
Wow.
And
okay.
And if they accept it, then you get your deposit back and it's all good. If they don't, then your deposit gets forfeited to the community fund for different purpose-driven projects, and it gets distributed amongst the members that voted no. We might alter that mechanism because it was pointed out to me that might lead to a certain disparity of how the tokens are used. So we're kind of playing with that mechanism in regards to the voting system. But now you can see kind of that the token itself is more a part of that functionality than it is a part of really generating any type of revenue. So again, like Becky token, we're giving it out, we're giving it away for free. It's really your voting mechanism.
Gotcha.
For the token curated registry. And as Ocean token does gain value, it'll also add more functionality to the registry because it'll make it so that in order to get information on there, it has to be quality. You're not going to want to put up 20 Ocean tokens for nothing.
You're not going to want to spam it, right?
So. Yeah, so it's a decentralized means of acquiring the most useful information and putting it all in one place.
Interesting. So it's is the TCR or the token curated registry, is that up and running yet, or is that
no? So we're developing. That's what's under development currently. So okay. So with some of the other developers we've befriended now through launching these other projects, there's one in particular, XRP Fact Checker. He's been building out a token authorization plugin for WordPress, and he's been very helpful with essentially creating the basic voting mechanism. So this is the same plugin that Reaper Coin is using.
I'm familiar with that. I just got done experimenting with that. Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah, so they're just launching it. They were the first ones to beta test it essentially, and we're the second essentially for projects go. But we're taking it to a different level. So we'll launch the simple voting at first, but the real goal is to refine that voting mechanism into the token curated registry.
Okay.
Which we are already mapping out the tech stack for. It's just a matter of implementing the code and making sure it all works, right? Before we go live with it and have people, down our throats about whatever going wrong or whatever, yeah. Functionality doesn't work. We want to make sure that, when it goes live, that it'll function properly. So that's definitely something experimental that we're developing, no, I haven't seen this really on any other ledger, let alone on the XRP ledger. It's going to be huge based on the speed and functionality of the ledger itself. I
was going to say, I can imagine this trying to happen on Ethereum, like $700 to post this. Nah, I'm good. Screw the ocean.
I mean, maybe it would be more effective, like in terms of the quality of information because of the gas fees, right? But again, we also chose XRP ledger for this project because of the sustainable nature of it and because there's no gas fees and it's carbon neutral or it's not. Well, I mean, essentially we're making it carbon neutral by having it benefit carbon capture type of programs and stuff. But
so real quick, I want to ask, so I know whenever I experimented with the Reaper votes, it cost, like on Zum, it cost me 0.00001 or something like this of the XRP I had on there, and it was such an infinitesimal amount that I'm like, yeah, whatever. But at some point that starts to add up, and I like my XRP. I'm JTXRP. I gotta, I like my XRP. So like is yours going to use, I have to ask, is yours going to use the Ocean Assist token for those functions, or is it going to use the XRP in my Zum wallet? I just want to throw that out there.
Well, so the XRP that you're referring to is a network fee, so that cannot be avoided no matter what. So
and it
even
has to be XRP.
Yes.
Okay.
That being said, we don't add any additional like issuer fees or anything like that. Okay. There's no additional percentage on top of that.
Just figure it out there.
You're not actually like using your token so much as it represents your authority to vote in a certain amount of shares, right? So you're not even turning that in per se, but that is a good question. You will accrue a very minimal network fee, and if XRP is flying at that point, it could be a potential issue. I would believe though that the developer community would vote in a lower fee at that point, which has been done before. So like when they lowered the trust line fee to 2 XRP and stuff like that, like there's different proposals that can be put into the ledger protocol.
Okay.
So that's just like how NFTs, the NFT functionality just got voted into the protocol. So it's now on the dev net, about to go live in a couple of weeks, or maybe tomorrow, who knows.
And are you going to be using the token to buy the NFTs? And are those NFTs going to somehow fund the Ocean stuff as well?
Right.
Or how's that work?
So the token and the token curated registry are certainly directly tied. The NFT aspect of this model can be tied to that, or it could be completely separate. I think we're going to just allow the community to dictate that, and maybe more so the technology stack that exists at that time. Like if you can only have the functionality of XRP paying for your NFTs, then like that would be an issue. But I believe that we could have the tokens be in exchange for the NFTs. But we're working on that right now. It's not something I can like guarantee. But that being said, so the tokens, like I said, are not an investment vehicle. They're for voting. The NFTs may or may not be used in the future for revenue towards certain particular projects that the DAO, so down there, the DAO is a decentralized autonomous organization. So that's essentially a member-owned organization, and anybody, what we're trying to decide is it anybody holding the token that is now a member of the DAO, or is it anybody holding the NFT, or is it a combination of both? I believe we're leaning more towards token because that's your voting power. So anybody voting is essentially part of the DAO. So we're working on getting like a legal DAO registered in Wyoming to function properly as a legal entity for that. So before we go and file all the paperwork for it, we want to
lock down everything.
Kind of lock down not necessarily lock it down. We want expert legal advice, right? So well, I'll get back to that in a second. Let me finish explaining what the last component is, which is a POAP, which is a proof of attendance protocol. So this is why I'm actually wearing this shirt, right? It says water reuse San Diego. And I got this shirt like, there
we go.
10, 13 years ago, something like that, doing a water sustainability, water reclamation project in San Diego. And I was like, I was thinking about like donating it or giving it away a couple years, or when I moved. And I held on to it because it reminded me of that moment where I helped and like where I did something actionable, right? In the same way, your POAP is that. It's proof that you were there for that first beach cleanup, or you helped, like it helped the sea turtles and wherever, I don't know what country all the sea turtles hatch their eggs from, but it's a proof, it's a social proof that you did something, right? And so together with all 5 of those mechanisms working cohesively in a model, then we should be able to achieve actionable results. So the DAO can propose, anybody holding a token can propose something into the token curated registry. The DAO as the legal entity can earn revenue from NFT production and distribute those funds towards certain directives that get voted on by the token curated registry and the voting mechanism. And then the POAP being a social motivation to keep showing up. And so in this experiment, which it's a social experiment and it's a technological experiment, we're leading a path that, hopefully will blossom into a globalized effort, which, I mean, it is already globalized. There's people all over the world participating in Ocean Assist already. Mm-hmm. And it's only 2.5, I think 3 weeks old now.
Wow, okay.
And so, so we launched it, about 2.5 weeks ago. It rose in trust lines, really crazy, honest. Got up to like 14 on the ledger.
Wow. Okay.
Just under X Meta. I mean, I think it's still above Reaper. It's right under. Wow, I mean, it's right up there with every other project that everybody considers to be like a top grosser or a top project, and Ocean is right there. It's sitting right there. And but I think a lot of people think of projects in a certain way, like it has to be out to make money, or it has to be
an investment.
I don't know.
I don't think we're gonna get crypto rich, right? I mean, that's one of the reasons we got motivated into this space, and I love what you're doing with it, and that's I'm trying to help you promote your projects, because I think that I really believe in them, and I do think that that's some of the things that you've shared on the Ocean Assist. I wanted to share one of them real quick. I just pause the interview real quick, I guess, but I wanted to share this, that I used to joke, and I had a friend who used to joke, actually, and he was telling me a story about how he was having fun with some people in the UK, and he was playing video games online on Xbox, and this is when we were teens. It's like he was joking that he made some people in the UK really angry, some younger kids, like, yeah, Texas is bigger than the UK, blah 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 blah, because I'm from Texas, and so there's some pride there. But anyways, he was making fun at the time, but there's an island of garbage twice the size of Texas. It just puts that joke in my head that all that pride goes into, okay, well, now all that pride just sinks in to nothingness when I hear that there's a island of garbage twice the size of Texas in the Pacific Ocean. And I'm just like, geez, that's just, what do we do about this? And how many people know about this?
Right. And that leads into kind of what, so far in this inception, right? Like, we just started this. So we already did 2 town halls so far, and they're both recorded. Anybody can go listen to them and catch up to speed as to what's been discussed and what's going on, right? Like, we've been totally transparent in public about everything we've been doing here. So we've had community members in the Twitter spaces basically come in, help inform us and inform each other of different issues. We all found out together essentially that rivers are 90% of the pollutants of the ocean. So if you're not cleaning up the river ways, then you're just letting it all in there anyways. So from there, maybe we learned all together that just localizing beach cleanups wouldn't be enough, that you should really target the waterways, right? Yeah. And so maybe that wasn't something that we all would have just been like, okay, yeah, like oceanic conservation, totally, like, let's go up the Mississippi River and collect all the trash on it. You know what I mean? Like, it wouldn't necessarily click when you're talking about oceans. And I, again, like I heard something on the radio and I was like, oh, well, the biggest like threat to humanity right now is actually like all this carbon buildup, right? And it causing higher elevated temperatures. Well, not just in our atmosphere, but the elevated temperatures of our oceans is what's causing all the disruptive like climate change, essentially. Like you've got a higher amount of energy being absorbed into the oceans and then evaporating into the atmosphere and staying in the atmosphere, causing like insane destruction. We've an increase in blizzards and hurricanes and the destructive aspects of them. So you've got people literally dying from the ocean being slightly warmer, and all of these things affect each other in ways that aren't super obvious. So somebody in Texas, for instance, was like, well, I'm landlocked and like, I don't have any rivers or anything nearby me. Like, how can I help? I'm like, well, I mean, look into carbon capture, anything you can do to reduce a carbon footprint or even like extract it, right? Yeah. would also be effective. So,
no, I used to drink that. Oh, sorry. I was going to say, I drink, I used to drink a ton of bottled waters, and I just realized how destructive that was alone. I mean, yes, it's okay for, different circumstances, but why can I not just go and grab, filtered water or something? Why can I not just, use a cup or the same cup over and over again? So I hear you. Right. Like there's different steps you can take.
And so what we're trying to do here is, create a central point where all these ideas can be curated, right? The registry, and then have the members all discuss them and figure out which actions are the most effective or efficient to take
in the area or
in wherever because there's a globalized community already. So it could be like, okay, well, this particular like the Hudson needs a particular cleanup in a certain area. Somebody from Mumbai could help fund that effort or reward that effort. One thing that was discussed was doing like a globalized beach cleanup day competition kind of thing, where it was like, cool. You'd have different rewards. Like, okay, the group that has the most people show up get this POAP and this many ocean tokens. And then the group that has the most trash actually cleaned up, because you could have a smaller group that works harder, right?
Yeah, sure.
So they get a certain, reward or whatever, competition or game we come up with can all be entered into the token curated registry. And that's what gets voted on, right? So what we're trying to do here is just like get the ball rolling and provide the tools. And then the idea is that we're getting these tokens into the right hands of people that have the skill sets, knowledge, and like desire to actually use them. Yeah. Instead of it being like, oh, I'm going to buy this token and hold it until it goes up 20%. And then I'm going to dump it because I don't know what it's for. Like, we want people to actually use these tokens to make a better planet, and so it's a whole different, like, kind of existential concept for people that are like purely into trading. And it's not to attack that, because that also provides liquidity into the ecosystem. If it weren't for the fact that we could make ocean and it immediately be traded by people, like that's what provides liquidity to the system. So it's kind of like this juggling match of how do you distribute in wise ways. And that gets back to what you were talking about, kind of jokingly a little bit about how we decided to do the airdrop. So
that was before the video, but please go ahead.
So the airdrop, I mean, that was all voted on by the community, like how it went about and what the way we would do it, everything. Like, we put it up to the community, like, okay, so in the first meeting, we agreed we're going to do an airdrop, and we're going to do it to all trust line holders. We also said that we weren't going to do it to global ID, global verified, because that would limit and not everybody is global ID'd and whatever. We didn't want to gatekeep people's ability to participate in this,
okay.
right?
Makes sense.
But at the same time, we know there's a ton of trust line bots, and so we're like, okay, how do we make sure that the bots don't just ruin this project before it has any legs? And then likewise, how do we make sure we get these tokens to anybody who's interested, right? Anybody who actually wants to participate. And so at first we were just like giving them out at the town halls, well, at that first town hall, we gave like 100,000 ocean token to every person that was there, wow. And then at the second one, I think we did 10,000 to everybody that was there. And actually, if you're watching this and you were there, just go ahead and DM me. I'll know if you were or not. So, and anyways, my point being is,
some people were complaining though, right?
Like, it was all decided, right? So what happened is we voted as to the amount that would be airdropped. And I did incept this. I was like, I think it should be small, like 1 to 10 ocean, and that's it. Because the purpose is literally not to sell them, it's to vote, and like the price is completely irrelevant in essence to what the use is for it. So like, it's a little bit relevant in terms of as we get going, having higher quality information. But right now, like it doesn't matter like at all. And so go ahead. Yeah.
You don't mind. So now you have all these people that were in a and they are participating. They're in these Twitter spaces with you. And then you've done this airdrop that everyone has a considerable less amount to vote because they're not as what's the word?
Actively participating
in the community. Engagement is what the word I was looking for. Engaged in the community early enough to do that. And so obviously these people are going to have more of a voting power because they are engaged, they're early adopters, they want to help the environment. They were here at the start essentially. But it doesn't mean that you don't. I just want this to be on record because this could affect the votes later. This doesn't mean you don't value other people's votes, right?
Right. And I want to get to addressing that because at the end of the day, anybody that did have a smaller amount and wants more, there is more to give them. That was all discussed, like anybody that got those large amounts in the first or second one, they know that it's their responsibility to distribute those, to give them to the right people in the right hands. You know what I mean? Like anybody that was there from that first town hall, they were people that I've interacted with for at least, a few weeks, really. Most of them were not like just random people popping in there. Actually, there were a few, and we did onboard some people actually in that session. Well, not in there, but right after it, we onboarded them into Zum Wallet and got them the tokens, right? But anybody that wants to come to a town hall, we will give them like, thousands of ocean, like in order for them to go and give it to other people that may or may not be in crypto, or, they could be like a dolphin trainer at SeaWorld for all I know. Like the idea is that we're at least incepting the concept that, hey, you care about the oceans. That's why you're here. We're sitting here talking about solutions for it for hours before you're ever offered like, okay, like here's a few thousand ocean, like make sure you give these to people. Like, no, you're coming up to the mic, you're speaking with us, you're engaging with us, and that's how you get them, right? And it's kind of similar to how we did it with Becky in a way, but Becky is just, freely out there, right?
Gotcha.
But
so are you going to be doing another airdrop? Everyone only got 10. You said if they come to the Twitter spaces and they participate in those, you can always ask for more, that you'll give it to them. It's not about the amount, it's about the votes and you know,
Right.
what was that function again? Sorry,
The token curated registry.
yeah, the TCR. Okay.
Yeah, and so like with to address the airdrop amount a little bit further, because I know people were
confused
about it, and it's interesting to me because the people that were confused about it seemed like they were only there to make money, and that became very obvious, especially with like certain degrees of like, you know, I don't want to be rude or anything, but like I guess nagging could be the term for it. Like you're pointing out that yeah, the value of the 10 tokens you got is like 0.0001 cents, and you're complaining about that. Like, and it just shows like that they're not maybe the type of person that actually wants to participate in that. And
that's the way you're using this token and how you're using it for what you're doing. I've never seen anything like it. Like there may be something else like there out it that's like this. I know Reaper's done some of the voting that you're participating with, but I have never heard, and I love the effort, but I've never heard of another project that does things the way you're doing it. And any crypto I've personally participated in has been about profit or gaming or, you know, fun of, you know, there was something more to it. And I think that your the volunteer aspect is extremely different. People are not that people don't go to Coin Market Cap. If Ocean Assist gets on there, hopefully it will at some point, and they're not looking for you know, how can I volunteer? They're looking, hey, what's going to make me the next best trade? And so I think that, you know, I have no doubt you've encountered those people. I hope that people can shift their mindset though after they watch this video and say, hey, if I have some funds, how can I use them to buy more Ocean Assist and, you know, give some opinions? Maybe I found some cool technology on Facebook that could help out Ocean Assist, you know, that just doesn't occur to people. And it didn't occur to me before I sat down on this interview. So this is really interesting. So.
And that's the thing, is it's like so new, and like I was planning to get the website up before I got on this interview with you, even just like the basic website explaining what it is. And
it's okay.
we're
I'll link it down below later. You can give it to me
later. We're testing the voting mechanism that XRP fact checker made for Reaper. You know, we're testing that simplified version, and that should be live by the end of the month, so we can start doing kind of basic style like multiple choice votes, right? But it won't have the token curated registry component. So we can do votes on like maybe things that get proposed in the town halls, and say like for instance, when we did the airdrop amount, you know, it was just an open discussion at the town hall, and it was like, okay, so what amount, you know, and everybody like agreed that all right, 10 seems like the magic number. And it wasn't just 10. We did leave an Easter egg. We did 10.42069. And the addition of those decimals was purely to weed out the bots and weed out anybody that was just going to sell it right away. So we now have all that data, right?
You wanted to talk about that, the blacklist you're creating.
So what we kind of initiated with Becky token, which is partially somewhat of its utility, is like weeding out trust line bots, right? Well, we're doing the exact same thing with Ocean Assist, and Ocean Assist being a much like, I guess, relatively more successful project in terms of growth. It had 69,000 trust lines at a certain point. I think it had more than that at its peak. And within like 2 days after the airdrop, dropped like 10,000 trust lines. And I've been seeing, you know, other projects losing trust lines slowly. But that was interesting to me, you know, seeing how quickly that drop happened, and then the amounts that were being sold were all like, you know, the full amount, right? And so it was very obvious to us who the dumpers are, and it's probably about like, I mean, I'm still going through all the data, but it's probably about like 20% of the trust line holders, if not more.
I hope it's less, because this is a really good project, and yeah.
Well, and so now we have this whole list, right? And like you said, yeah, it's commendable that we're doing all these like kind of volunteer humanitarian effort types of projects. But again, that's not to say that we're not going to use these models eventually to have for-profit types of projects, like eventually well, not super eventually, it's pretty soon we'll be dropping other projects that are intended to make money. But as we were testing out our models and building out our tech stack and really, like experimenting, we wanted to make sure that it was around like worthy goals and worthy causes, and that like we're kind of becoming these existential thought leaders in a way, like you just told me your mindset completely got altered about this valuation system, and that's what we want. We want to turn this all upside down and get people to think differently, because it's about the power of this technology transforming our minds to this new valuation concept, and once we start thinking differently, we can actually act differently.
Yep.
So,
well, maybe we can have you back on and just hear more progress as things progress. I know that, you think you invited me to be a part of the DAO at some point. I'm really honored and would love to participate more as much as I can. Would love to understand more about DAOs in general. I hope to get, there's someone else that offered to come on the show and have a conversation about it. I might have a recorded Twitter space with them. Would love for you to jump in if you're available. But
yeah, absolutely.
For Ocean Assist, you've only been live 2 weeks. You said you're already gone, how many trust lines? Like what's your number right now?
I could check. I think it's close to, it dipped down into the 50,000s. It was like 58,000 last I checked, but at its peak, it was like at 70,000. It was right around 70,000, maybe 71.
Yeah. Okay. So in terms of like that number, I don't, just even if it's that number, like 50,000, even if 500 of those people take action, like, and hopefully more will, or every holder that's participating will, not only vote, but take action as to help the environment. That's huge, so I definitely commend you for that. And are you guys, again, it's only been live 2 weeks. What do you have any plans to partner with other organizations that are doing this? Like, tell me more about your future.
That's kind of the central aspect of what got discussed, right? I mean, first of all, let me put it this way. Nothing that we do is only decided by me. Everything is decided by a group vote, like everything we've done. I even asked, like, okay, well, we started with 50 million tokens. Like, should we issue more? Do you want me to go black hole this? And they voted, go black hole it, and so I did that the next day, and when we did the airdrop, it was like, yeah, we're going to do the airdrop. We're going to do it to all trust signs. We're going to do this amount. And I went and did that, or I initiated it the next day. It had an error and then I had to do it again. But it all worked out in the second one, I think. But my point being is like nothing that Ocean Assist does is just my decision. Everything about it is a community driven decision. So
has the community talked about any of those things?
Yeah. So that was done at the last meeting. Basically, we were deciding what groups to target first. In particular, that's what I was getting back to is the legal defense and the legal organization of the DAO. So we decided, okay, we're gonna make these infographics. We're gonna make it more clear what we're doing here. And then we're going to start tagging John Deaton and Jeremy Hogan in every post that we do until they start looking at us and liking our stuff, because the reality is they're, superstars in the XRP community and legal defense, right? And if we can have them on our side, then we're feeling pretty good about getting launched further, and likewise, I know that Jeremy Hogan was, I think he linked up with XR Doge. I knew he had changed his profile pic to the glasses and stuff. So we're hoping that he'll be pretty responsive. I'm planning to just call their law offices early next week and just see if they'll entertain a call, you know.
I'm sure they would. I mean, they're very supportive. So they've been, yeah, could not have this community without them for sure. So thankful for them.
So that was one thing, but then another person and group. So Mr. Beast, I don't know if you know who Mr. Beast is, but
I've heard of him. Yeah.
He's a YouTube influencer that's like really well known for his philanthropy. Like that's how he built his whole influential thing, right? Okay. Excuse me. So he actually is a huge proponent of Team Seas, which is a really big like oceanic conservation initiative. So our plan is, sorry, I have a dry throat.
You're good.
I might need a little water here in a second.
You want to go grab it? We can pause.
Okay, yeah, 1 second.
Yeah, I don't want to dry you out.
No, yeah, I'm just talking so much, you know.
You're good. Hey, I mean, it's been an interview. So I understand. Okay, I'm just curious. Can you hear my kid at all in the background? He's been like screaming and stuff. So
no, surprisingly, no. If you say screaming, I haven't heard any of that. So
I'm grateful because I was.
The headset is good, huh?
Yeah, just thankful because man, he's 2 and he's just going crazy right now. So.
Oh yeah, terrible twos. There you go. Supposedly terrible.
No, it is. It's very true. Can't wait for 3.
Okay.
All right. Let me know when you're ready to begin again. It's already recording. Just
okay.
Start whenever.
So so Mr. Beast. So Mr. Beast is the YouTube influencer. He's highly involved with Team Seas, which is a nonprofit organization doing the same thing, right? So we are basically trying to be this bridge between what already exists, right? There are a number of oceanic conservation efforts already in existence. We're not trying to like rebuild the world, you know, we're not trying to start from scratch. But what we are trying to do is build a bridge from Web3 principles and the I guess the effectiveness that it can provide in targeting resources and being transparent about resources and being transparent about information and organizing all of those things. You know, we're experimenting with the application of them, but that doesn't mean we need to go reinvent like how sustainability efforts. But what we can do is say in the registry, like, okay, this organization does this really well. Now, do we think they do it better than this group? Or which effort do we find to be the most effective or worthy towards the actual conservation of the ocean? You know, is it maybe we deem, you know, certain resources towards certain localized efforts? Maybe, you know, we help fund a whole vessel that is going and cleaning up that plastic out of the garbage piles out there, you know, like there's a number of things that can be proposed. And that's why it's like organizing that in an effective way with enough data to provide those answers. So it might not even be that like the socialized aspect of voting is enough. Like, you know, maybe we need to vote in like, hey, let's incorporate some AI analysis or something, you know, like, but that can all be you know, voted upon. So as much as it's an experiment in kind of technology, it's also an experiment of social organization and how we can actually achieve these things that we know are imminent and not going to be sustainable for the entire generations of the future. Like we're looking at this as like this is the most imminent thing, like the imminent threat to humanity is like literally ocean conservation, and people have no clue about it because we all live on land, you know, right? And so and then all that land pollution, you know, just goes straight out to the ocean. So it's also it's something that's hard to identify with if you're landlocked and stuff like that.
It's true. So I'm in the flattest place on earth as far as I know.
Yeah.
So I was interested in the technology. So the problem with a lot of people who want to donate, for example, is the fact, and I really want to see this in blockchain, I really do. You know, when you give to a nonprofit, for example, you have no idea how they're using that money.
Right.
In blockchain, and I was hoping this would come into the token at some point, and maybe we can help bring this up inside, or maybe that can be Ocean in the future. Totally up to the community, of course, in voting. But I want to be able to track where money is going and to see it go to those efforts. Because a lot of times, like if the government gave Ocean Assist a grant, it wasn't going into, you know, Becky's pocket or X, Y, and Z. It's turned into crypto and it's tracked through the chain directly to producing the resources that are going to the ocean. So I would love to be able to see that, because I feel like there's a ton of money that gets floated around all the time. It's supposed to go to these organizations. Yes. Or middlemen who just want to profit from nonprofit organizations. So anyways, just would love to be able to see that in the future.
Yeah, that's essentially the directive, is like, despite it, you know, we are talking about partnering up with organizations, but in particular, I don't think most members of the community would be like, yeah, give Greenpeace like $1 million or something. Like, I don't think anybody that's been at these town halls would ever say that, you know. I mean, no knock on Greenpeace or anything. What I'm saying is, you know, we're trying to have very like direct purposes or direct actionable things that then like maybe an organization brought it to us and we assist with that, and we know that it's going directly to that effort, right? I mean, that's what I would push, at least with my votes.
Awesome. So I want to talk about this proof of gosh, I'm going blank on it. The proof of action, or what was the
proof of attendance protocol?
Yes. So that sounds like a consensus algorithm. Is that what it is? Or like explain how that's going to work, or how that is envisioned, or is it actually working? I don't know.
A lot of that is, so like most of these components, other than the token curated registry, already exist in most crypto sectors. It's just not really an XRP ledger yet. So a POAP is pretty common in the NFT sector over in Ethereum. And it's essentially like you could show up to like an event, like they had NFT in New York. And this was a big example of how this was used, honestly.
Okay.
Is you show up and you've got like a Bored Ape, right? And I mean, I don't have a Bored Ape, but somebody has a Bored Ape. And they show their Bored Ape NFT, and that allows them entry into a very special concert venue that
like a ticket
has, and so by being there and by scanning your NFT or proof that you were there and had this thing, then you're time stamping that, and now you're eligible for this POAP, and you can have like a certain amount of time to claim it or whatever it is. You can also kind of tie it to geographic location. Okay. The dev we worked with on Bud Buddies is really skilled and built a geo token. So you could potentially utilize this mechanism to say, like, when you show up for a beach cleanup day, not only while you like just showing up there, but maybe the amount of time you spent there and like all of that could go into a greater reward or something like that.
I think that's great. And also, I wanted to bring this up because this is something that I'm sure you are considering. But this is in my agile background. This is a story that was told to me that's always stuck with me. And it goes back to the, I know we're detracting, I'm sorry, but it has a point. It goes back to the British colonial rule of India. And they had a problem with snakes and cobras. And stop me if you've heard this before, but they wanted to get rid of all the cobras. And so they gave a what's the word, a bounty on, any dead cobras. So people started breeding cobras. And so I just want to make sure that as what we're trying to clean up trash, people are not going to create more trash or create more of a problem so that they can say that they did more at some point. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and that's a valid point too. I wouldn't say that like the trash cleanup competitions, that those would necessarily be something where like somebody felt they were going to get a lot of money out of it. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah,
it would be more like,
I hear awards. So when I hear awards, this story always comes to mind, or incentives.
yeah.
So but yeah, I mean, if it's an
But
NFT or, who knows, but
in that regard, shoot, where was I going with this? So in terms of like taking advantage of that system, I don't see that being I don't see the DAO organizing it in a way that would happen. But it's also, again, an experiment, so we don't know. Like, it could, like, for all I know, like, everybody could come together and vote on bad ideas. You know what I mean? Like, and so that's where it is an experiment, and there's no guarantees. There's a high level of risk, like, and it's really not, again, an investment vehicle. It's a mechanism to provide actions in a certain purpose that we deem very valuable.
Well, I hear you. What I'm envisioning is this guy that has let's say he needs public service time for whatever reason. And so he's like, man, I've got this Ocean Assist app. It's going to track me. It's going to tell me how long I've been here. So I'm just going to sit on the beach, chill with my friends. I'm just going to bring all the garbage that I just I just made this last 2 weeks or whatever. I'm going to throw it on the beach. I'm going to say I collected it, and I'm going to sit out here for a couple hours, and no, that was my volunteer work or whatever. So
right.
I'm just imagining these scenarios, but I know all these things are going to be worked on. I'm just, all these things are coming to mind. So I just figured
that particular scenario is very unlikely, because those types of reward mechanisms would be based around like a global event type of day. It wouldn't be like every day, like, oh, you went and picked up some trash, so now you're getting reward. It'd be like, okay, one day out of the month in your area, what can you organize or whatever, like whatever the challenge is, and all of those requirements would be decided by the group. And I do trust that there's enough smart people in there to think of those things, and devise a method where that's not going to happen. That being said, so I
did just want to make sure it gets off to a good start. That's it.
Yeah, exactly. And that's the thing with the airdrops, right? We just want to make sure it gets off to a good start. That's not to say that there won't be more airdrops, because the whole community could be like, okay, well, we got those people out, or those bots out, right? And anybody that was only in it for the pittance of a cent, like, they're gone too. And now we've got these people. So, all right, let's give them a little more. That I was going to bring that up in the next one. So who knows? Like, we might do another one, but I can't say that. I can't say for sure whether it'll happen or what amount it'll be. Gotcha. But I did want to bring up one really good point that was made about in one of the town halls, was that, like, okay, well, once you clean up all this trash, what are you going to do with it? Like, you're just going to go stick it in a garbage pile, like, and so that was another aspect of like, oh, well, shit, what do you do with it? So we can link up with organizations that will use those plastics to maybe make shelters and housing for immigrants and houseless people, so there's other like sustainable and humanitarian efforts that could stem off of it that would probably deserve their own branch or their own whole model, right? Like, gotcha. It could be that this is maybe too general, right? Like, we don't know that yet until it actually becomes fully functional, and maybe eventually it'll split off into multiple wheels too. Like it's still so early, and that's really what's exciting about it, and being a part of it, and creating it is we get to build new things, and we get to see if they work, and in that way we're building a whole new world.
Yep.
And
I love focused experiments like this, and I think it's for a great cause as well. So if anyone wants to, in the spirit of wrapping things up, is there how can they get in touch if they want to be a part of Ocean Assist? So far, I know you have the Twitter space. I guess I'll just share my screen again, so I can show you that. And I believe it's right here. Nope. I'm like zoomed in a lot too.
You're good. Yeah.
I was sorry. I was like scrolling all the way down earlier trying to find some of these posts. So this is the Twitter page, and then you're going to have a website that's probably going to be posted up here too sometime soon.
Yeah. By the time you post this video, we'll have like a basic informational website. Okay. I'm not promising anything super nice. And then within a couple of weeks, we should have the simple voting mechanism where you authenticate that you have Ocean tokens with the Zum wallet. Okay. And then that'll qualify you to vote in that amount on whatever the vote is. So at that point, we'll probably only have votes on things that are discussed in the town hall, and the town halls occur in the Twitter spaces. So you kind of do have to be on Twitter for now, until we can, fully develop the rest of the mechanism. And we did vote on having town halls every 2 weeks. So this last week we have one. So there's not one this Thursday, but the next Thursday, it'll be January 27th is the next town hall.
And you mentioned the town halls were recorded. Where can people go to view those?
They're also on the Twitter. So it's just all recorded through Twitter. That just made it easy, honestly. And we kind of like how the Twitter spaces allow anybody to kind of come up to the mic, but they're still kind of moderately controlled, right?
Where is how do I get to these? I'm sorry, I'm not super Twitter.
So I'm going to make it more easy to find, because they're really just like, you just got to scroll down until you get to, because you can only pin one tweet at the top, and I have that one pinned for now.
So they're somewhere in the feed. Got it. Okay.
Yeah, they're in the Twitter feed, but I'm going to make it more obvious and easy to get to, especially with the website launched. I'll have a link probably directly to that tweet, I guess. And maybe I'll probably go and re-record them all onto like actual audio and put that out there. It's just something I like. We literally just launched, and it's been an experiment. So I haven't gone and sat there, and they're kind of long, honestly. The first one, I think it was like 2 hours. The second one, I tried to make it more condensed. We did a lot of updates and like administrative stuff at the beginning of the second one, just going over where we were at, what had been done in the previous one, catching people up who weren't there. And so, I mean, the second one probably you could start with, mostly because we cover pretty much everything that was discussed, other than some of the community ideas and getting to know you kind of stuff. So if you want to get direct to the nitty gritty, then like the second one's probably a little easier to start with and digest. But I think it goes for another hour and a half, or it's all of us talking and sharing new ideas. So
excellent. No, I've been experimenting with using OBS to capture Twitter Spaces. So I think that it works pretty well. I'm not sure if you could just download them somehow. I'm not sure if Twitter likes that or not, but to like post on YouTube.
Twitter is kind of a beast in itself. We are building a Discord, but I'm not a huge. I know all about the security vulnerabilities of Discord, because we do have a high level security dev. And so like, I tend to personally not use it, but I think it would be useful for now for this project. So we're going to use it, but it's not going to have like any bots or anything on it. It's just going to be used for the community to talk and discuss things together in a forum until we can really build that out on our own on the website more. Gotcha. So the idea would be to have that kind of more fully contained all in one place at the website instead of sending people to Discord, which really isn't popular with just anybody normal, you know. Like if you're not into crypto, yeah, like if you're not into crypto or like something very particular, then you don't know what Discord is, and we don't want to ostracize people again or like gatekeep people. Like I said before, we don't want to threshold that. We want anybody and everyone, whether you know about crypto or not, like we'll help you like get the Zum wallet. You know, we want people that care about the oceans. That's what we want. So yeah, it's a very kind of focused effort of distribution towards that goal. And I did want to mention too that we are trying to get the attention of Ripple. It's because they announced a major NFT fund of like $250 million. And I did apply for this with my company like months ago, and and it was not for Ocean Assist. It was for a completely different project that I was proposing, and they put us in the next round, but then we never heard from them again. So what's interesting now is like I'm probably going to go back and fill out that form again, but with Ocean Assist, and like just let them know like, well, okay, without your help, we went ahead and like, you know, did this. It's one of the top projects on the XRP ledger currently, and we know it's doing something completely different than anyone has ever done.
Yes.
So like, okay, now will you help us? You know, like we'll see.
I hope they will. They should.
Yeah, hopefully, you know, promoting it and letting people know like this video will really help, because you know, I've never just sat here and really, you know, outlined it all out unless you were in these Twitter spaces. Really, like that's the only place you could have gotten this information up until this point. So, you know, I wish you all the best in getting the information out there. We'll do our best to help you, you know, spread it around and promote it.
It's all good to me.
And likewise, yeah.
Well, that's why I love talking to these smaller projects, is the cross-pollination of the community. And of course, trying to grow a channel is of course great and all, but I really do love being able to talk to people like yourself that are starting out, and you know, even you transitioning to the ledger itself is really, really cool to me, because I'm looking for stories like that, because I think that obviously the XRPL is a great set of technology, and it's cool to see people building off of it. And I'm really happy. I'm really, really happy that this project specifically is using this, and that's what it's for. So I hope I see more projects that are like this, and I hope that you spawn and inspire a ton of people, because I think that what you're doing and the way you're using this technology is on point and amazing. And I hope other people jump on. So with that being said, though, we probably should wrap up because it's going to be a longer video too. Yeah. Thank you so much, Becky, for joining me. I hope to have you on again, and maybe we'll have some more dev conversations and more about Ocean Assist and other tokens you're helping out. But thank you so much for coming on. Like and subscribe, guys, and make sure that you go follow Ocean Assist. Take part in this great volunteer and philanthropic opportunity, and just really support how this technology is being used in this way, because I think that this could really help a lot of efforts in the future do a lot of good. So like and subscribe, guys. I'm JTXRP. This is Becky. We're out. Thank you.
Bye.
All right.